Europe or North America, and that's kind of the counter style to what they've been building up for. So it's been a bit rough in that sense.
Well, we're straight into it. SK on the CT side after winning that knife round, so they do get the choice. And VG, they are going to be going towards the A site early to start things off, showing a bit of contact towards A. Still holding on to their utility, though. Summer has that for the late round play, so they check out the A site, which SK are stacked up with 3 players. Couple towards MBK as well, but it's only early contact for Flash, who will be heading back down towards B.
Just brazenly running straight into mid. They do get spotted out, but they do have the smoke to cover off any sort of rotation for CT spawn, and that leaves coldzera all by his lonesome on site here.
Oh, tapping away. He's getting overrun, though. Attacker going to find that first opening kill. And with only 1 player on the site, things start to look complicated for SK. A retake scenario here with a kit in play, but VG still holding on to the man advantage. Not facing from the site as well means things are going to start to heat up for SK, who need to close the distance and get back in. Nice angle from Fallen, does catch a headshot. And then they're going to start to overwhelm these T players. But Attacker on the site, doubling down. 3 headshots coming in. And he's looking for the final one, but Fur cannot step up to the mark. 2 kills from him, but it is not enough. The Chinese will start things off.
Yeah, SK getting dangerously closer. Attacker doing a great job finding those 2 kills to basically set up a reply for Vici there. They had only 1 flash to kind of hold off that retake from SK, and that's where it really could have gotten dangerously because they were playing so passive that you saw SK were allowed to get a lot of real estate, Fallen sneaking up on higher, and a secondary player actually getting into the headshot position. That could have just easily been the demise of Vici.
I feel like that setup could have worked way better if SK didn't push in so quickly, right? They just went instantly into the site. If they took time to set up for the retake and then realized, oh wait, Vici are hiding inside of the site, they're not peeking and not giving us chances to get picks, that could have certainly gone the way of SK, but
not going to be the case.
No.
Instead, we're going to see Vici going with double rifle setup and 3 SMGs. Summer's already been tagged up by Fallen, and he's got that scout. And that's one of the dangers when you go up against a scout. If you play too scared, too passively, you might end up just running into pot shots from that scout just all over the map because Fallen's going to be active with that weapon in hand. He's going to move about. You definitely don't want to fall into that trap because obviously all you need is 1 tag, and that makes the pistol so much more lethal.
But even though he was spotted in middle, VG have no fear of going back to it. Lovey's already taken control, and Summer has caught one of the B players. That may allow for this vent split. VG may want to just dive to that B site once again, and coldzera's realised that he's at the back of the site playing the headshot angle, and he's got to get some shots off now, but he can't connect with the deagle. Entry for Freeman, and VG are on the site. This should already signal the round. SK's question mark is now, do we just go for exits, or do we save?
Well, they do have armor on both Fur and Bolts. Bolts even has head armor to boot with that CZ, so they might just be better off holding on to that going into the next round. You can see Fallen's already kind of backing off into more of a passive position up by Car, so he wants to hold on to that scout. And I think with these 3 weapons that they have, they could still do significant damage. With Bolts pretty deep in, does find Zoking. It's not going to be able to pick up the weapon, though. That is only one of the SMGs as well, so it wouldn't be that big of a net gain.
Yeah, I like how they've actually traded the weapons over as well. Summer, who originally had the AK, who got tagged by the scout in mid, is now on the Mac-10 because, again, he's close to death, and if he dies and drops over an SMG, it's not like SK are going to be caring too much about saving that. Nice work from Attacker. Does find bolts in the spawn, so VG going to get out with a few players surviving and a few guns going forward.
Yeah. One of the really cool things about, I think, a lot of the Asian players that we see at tournaments every now and again is that the one thing they definitely lack is consistency, but they have extremely high peaks. And one of those players is Attacker. We've seen that from the time he played in Tyloo. It's the same thing with DD, somebody, Bentet, for instance. Like, you know, the list just keeps going.
No.
They have, they have extremely high highs, but then again, they have, you know, worryingly low lows as well. But if someone like Attacker can get off to a really hot start, that can make him, you know, just get into the groove of things. And he's one of those players who has, like, seems like he has 19,000 in sensitivity, but he's just, like, landing headshots left and right.
Stack up on the A site, though, for SK, so they are at least poised perfectly for this one. But again, under-equipped. USP is going to be going down pretty quickly, and Vici just surrounding the bomb site. coldzera, how does he get back? No idea. Luckily enough, though, it will be resumed to a normal round so far. Fallen trying to do damage on the exit, but it's still Vici's round. 3 AKs save forward, the SMGs get removed, no big problem. It just means we're not going to see this bonus round, right? We're not going to see a risk round where Vici try and run a fast play with SMGs and hope to upgrade to the M4s, that of which are brought up now by SK. And no AWP in for Fallen, but we do have one on Summer.
Yeah, and Then, obviously, for those who don't know, Summer is the player formerly known as Fancy.
Yeah.
We didn't necessarily get to see him op that much in his previous teams, obviously because he played with other dedicated operas. But it's going to be interesting to see how he goes about it. He was the secondary opera on Tyler for a short period of time, but being the main opera now, and I guess that makes sense when you look at the makeup of the rest of the lineup. Really, no, I guess natural operas in that side. We're very fair bit of strong riflers.
But a very slow approach, at least to this round for VG. They do just hold a default. Summer himself looking towards that B site, and we have coldzera in the vents as well, so assuming they can work that out pretty quickly, you can get a Molotov in there. That's the case. Molotov in, coldzera out, and he jumps over the shot, takes some damage on the retreat, but does get out of there alive, and Stewie's low as well. SK getting chipped away on at B.
Yeah, Cold runs away, and Stewie runs right into the grenade. So a lot of damage done over towards the bomb site. Obviously, they can't know that they've done significant damage to Stewie, but there you go. That's confirmation right there, and they know that coldzera has been tagged already. This might lead them into a bit of a similar process to what we've seen in the true foregoing rounds, where they end up with a mid to B split. But SK seem to be kind of aware of this, so they're stacking up towards middle. Vici, though, they're showing poise here, and I like this. Normally, we've questioned their decision making in a lot of situations with these Asian teams, whether it comes down to experience or not. But they're taking their time here.
The reposition back in vents will be a bit of a surprise as well as they start to push towards B. coldzera in the corner. They have no idea. He lets them pass. One kill can come through. Surely, but Third kills his teammate through the wall. You hate to see it. Fallen can only get a double kill, so he did surprise them from the vents, but VG still have a double man advantage. Into the site they go, and Bolts has to try and retake now in a 1v3. Gives away the element of surprise, but gets a kill for it at the very least. Just needs to try and find a kit, because time is going to be a big issue here for Bolts as he begins to move in. And VG are playing a sort of crossfire from the CT spawn. Zoking just waits for the contact, and Freeman will strike. It's a 4th round for VG. They're starting things off well.
Impressive so far. And again, the fact that they just take their time, they know they've found an opening that's going to force a rotation from SK's side. And instead of just running into a side or running into mid, just haphazardly, not necessarily, doing your due diligence, throwing nades and whatnot, they actually just sit around, wait for the reaction from the side of SK, and they pounce on it. Now, obviously, very unfortunate for SK, the fact that Fur is able to actually wall back. I'm not sure if he actually got him through a player or a wall, but
yeah, I think it was a player there.
Yeah, but obviously coldzera makes the correct play in that kind of situation. Just wants to get as many people past as possible, but just doesn't pan out, and that means Vici on the road for a 5th round.
And this shouldn't be too hard as well, right? We have fallen on that scout and a few upgraded pistols, but already 1 by 1. Vici are dispatching the opponents. First dead up in main.
And what we saw in the 3rd round, really, that was a really positive sign from Vici was the fact that even though they were up against a clean eco, or more or less a clean eco, they did this exactly thing. They're executing properly, using all their Molotovs to clear out any sort of wonky positions, and that's going to get them a big bonus. 2 easy kills, open a bomb site. There's no way they should be able to lose this from this point on.
Yeah, they're spending a bit of money at least on the nades, but they're getting clean rounds as a result. Nice work from Summer. 3 from him. VG, they don't lose a single player there on that A bomb site. SK finding no damage. And even though they had a bit of a stack, they had 3 players there, they had some aggression from Third, nothing panned out for them, but now SK, they're going to pull in the double AWP into their 2nd buy round. No armor on either, though. Surely this is a bit of a risk, Vendetta.
It definitely is, but, when you talked about it in the first buy round where we saw Summer pick up an AWP and SK didn't have it, how that panned out. Obviously, that led to the opening frag for Vici, but this time they don't have an AWP on their side. They seem to want to pick up the pace here, and this could actually throw SK off for a loop.
Stewie's close in the smoke here, exactly kind of where he wants to be. Very aggressive position. His bit of utility has held Vici back from going for this fast play, but because SK looks scared, they don't go aggressive themselves. They actually have no information that all 5 players are here. This just gives time for Molotovs to be set up, and they will rain over the bomb site. Stewie, close position, but they've seen this one before. coldzera sat there just rounds ago, but now he's at the back of the site. One shot with the AWP, and he doubles down. They're peeking him 1 by 1. No trades are coming through here for the Chinese, and then coldzera is just lining them up. 3 frags before eventually the trade is found. But it just gives SK an opportunity back into this round.
That was a really awkward execution for Vici. It was looking so nice initially. Basically, the first part of a 2-part execution was really well done. They smoke off, they isolate Stewie. There's no way for coldzera to actually come into a position to actually help him. But then the follow-up, they don't have a smoke for spawn. They just constantly keep peeking it. And that allows for coldzera to get 3 frags, and now Summer left all by his lonesome 2v1.
They're both low, though. He finds a rifle. This could be dangerous. The spray control works. Fallen is going to go down. And Summer, 4 kills.
He's doing it.
This man is on fire. He's 10-1 right now, Alvo.
Yeah, and one of the biggest critiques, one of the biggest, I guess, downsides with Summer or Fancy in his early days of his CSGO career was the fact that he was dominating in Asia, like literally dominating. If you thought Bentet was doing hot in Asia, Fancy was one-upping him every single time. He was something ridiculous, like a 164 rating or something in domestic matchups. But whenever it came to international lines, he could never live up to that kind of potential.
Well, a lot of that was Tyloo were really like the only dominant team at the time. We never really had like 3-4 teams that could compete, right? If we look at the Asian scene now, not only do we have VG.Flash, we have like Tyloo, for example, we have MVP. I mean, you can make an argument for Boot, who have looked good as well, you know, with their new roster.
Eclipse.
Yeah.
Like, Eclipse has been decent. Five Power as well with Dobu and Cabal.
Yeah, there's so much like more talent here and so many better teams, whereas, you know, back when Fancy was destroying, I would argue that the competition was lower and the skill ceiling.
Yeah, there was only
it was so much easier,
much.
right?
Yeah, there was pretty much Vici with the Savage and TB lineup.
Yeah.
That is a very fair point to make. But, you know, obviously seeing Summer getting off to a great start, we talked about how these players have extremely high highs. So for any of them to get off to a positive start, that's going to do wonders for their confidence.
Now they are looking in towards the B site. They've been pretty favourable towards this part of the map, but coldzera, he's trying to shut them down. Stewie as well on the site does get one with a CZ, and coldzera, he could even find this one, because look at the health of these two T players. They're both really low, one shot away from death. And although it's a similar story here for the CT side as well, they do have pistols. VG trying to close the distance, do make their way to the site with the bomb, but the rush through the smoke, and Freeman gets 2. Ooh.
Well, yeah, SK just banking on basically that wall acting as or that smoke acting as a wall, really, and trying to catch Vici off guard. Not necessarily a bad play to make. It's just you know, doesn't pan out that time. Because I could very easily see Freeman in that kind of a situation, just pick up the bomb, try to go for a plant, gets caught out, and all of a sudden it's a 50-50 scenario. But SK do significant damage there. But Vici, again, I have to give them props for how they play out that situation. It gets chaotic. They lose a lot of members unnecessarily. But when they get into that 2v2, you can see they actually wait around for each other because they were split up. You had one guy on the B bomb side and one guy stuck in mid. And instead of just trying to go for some heroic plays, stick together and they crash some bolts here. Oh, he's gonna find one. First made his presence felt. That's for sure. Joking down to 23 HP. Oh, is he going to burn? Oh,
yeah, I hate to see it. I'm surprised Fer commits to that for so long, right? After losing his teammate, he clearly wants to try and draw it back and keep the man advantage because he knows that, again, like if they keep it in a 4-on-4, that's still a very good round for VG. There's still a round that they can potentially pick up. But now with a disadvantage, things start to look difficult. And SK, they don't seem too worried. They've put one player on the B site. That's coldzera, but he's locked it down in the past before. And so they can kind of put the pressure on A, make sure they at least have information to mid to stop these constant vent splits that we've been seeing here from VG.
Yeah. VG, though, on their end, they do have a lot of utility still. The only player with any real utility to speak of on the side of SK is Stewie, and he's stuck over in mid. Well, when you have Fallen, does alleviate a bit of pressure. We'll see what the two remaining VG players are able to do. Smokes go out, Molotovs as well. Oh, nothing for MBK.
That's around, I think, at that point. It's 1v4, and yeah, Molly going to finish him off. Attacker can't get anything done. And a bit unfortunate from VG. They lose the first early gunfight in main, right? And from that point, you could just see them start to fall down one by one. Fallen locking down mid, rotating back to the site, and VG just go, screw it, let's try and push A. And yeah, not going to work out. So pretty clean round from SK, and finally they're first on the board. But yeah, they can't afford to get reset here because the money is still good for the Ts.
Yeah, because, yeah, as you say, like even though it's a pretty clean round from SK, they only drop one member. Their economy is nowhere near where it needs to be.
Yeah. Especially
with them constantly going towards double ops here. It's so expensive. And being on the CT side doesn't really help. And they do need utility as well. I mean, we've seen VG play a pretty staggered game in that sense. They're taking their time, so there's definitely opportunities for them to bait out utility from the side of SK. And if you're already low on economy, then that's not going to do you any favors. But this is where the kind of the real match starts in that sense. For now, very, very cookie cutter setup from VG. It's spread out all across the map, just waiting to see if there's any aggression from the side of SK.
This is what they did in their first buy round, at least for SK, right? VG went for a couple of fast approaches. They went for that third round A execute, and then as soon as SK brought in guns, we just instantly saw this slow default. VG trying to get information, trying to catch aggressive players, because we've already seen in the previous round, for example, Fur just pushing up into main, trying to take control and start things off. VG don't want to allow that to happen. They want to make sure they're split. Yeah. But now they're going to look for maybe some form of execute or mid-control. Yeah,
one of the dangers for inexperienced teams in this kind of a scenario, when you've already ran into some aggression from your opponents, is the fact that you start playing too passively, and you don't give yourself enough time to actually execute towards a bomb site. But they seem to be on point with their clock management. The A split seems imminent. They still have one lurker over towards B, though.
Yeah,
that's over to B split.
Yeah, they find the pick in vents right, so now it just relieves all the pressure. Lovely going to drop Cold Zero as well. SK, there was so little time, but they're still playing aggressive on that B site, and VG can just catch them out for free. Bomb can go down. SK, though, they've been at least aggressive on these retakes, not giving a lot of breathing room for the Chinese. Bit of a boost up, not going to find the angle, but Fallen looks for another one. Almost catches the player moving from the back of the site, but he will reposition. It's going to be Attacker just holding on. And good angle as well from the AWP of Lovey to catch that first rotation in. Attacker following up with 2. And that is a really clean post-plant for VG, getting the reset as well.
That's such a snappy decision as well. The second they sense an inkling that there's a weakness towards that B bomb site, they just go immediately on it. That was really well done. That was like you see the effectiveness of a solid execution from VG Gaming, and when people actually just commit to the word of one man. Like if Summer's just screaming like we're splitting B now,
yeah,
you can see how tough that is to deal with. And obviously Freeman does a great job of actually finding the opening frag from Vents and actually doing significant damage onto the second defender on SK as well.
And back to pistols, and really SK haven't found any success with these kind of buys, right? Let's look at the past. I don't think they've even gotten really close other than one round in the B site when they get that 2v2 and get shot in smoke, right?
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be too much of a hassle, you would think, although early damage has been done. You see players get tagged up, but that's when things get relieved. The pressure goes as Freeman finds a double open. Caught out eventually, though. These pistols actually being scary. Now the question is for VG, do we look to take mid-control back? Do we look to hold on to these guns? Or do we give them away and look towards a site instead? They'll choose that latter option. As you can see, Zoking's already kind of wormed his way out towards A.
Yeah, that's a really interesting position right now to see what he's going to be able to do here. If Coldzera picks out too far, that might be the easy opening onto A. Seems like they're going to allow for Zoking to kind of dictate the pace. They're going to wait for SK, see if they actually try to move on to the A bomb side, and Zoking's going to hear that, if that is the case. That's going to be the catalyst that sets everything off.
Oh, that's awkward, though. He goes for the long-range fight, and Bolts peeks up close to get the trade, but Lovey will not give away this round too easily. 2 headshots in. The bomb can come through as well. 30 seconds left up, and it's not a main plant. That's the only issue with this setup for VG, but seeing as Stu only has a deagle, you'd feel like this is still a lockdown round for the T side. But
yeah, it's still a Molotov on Lovey's side as well. He can reposition off the back of that smoke as well. And Summer is going to pick up that op once more and put it to use. That's Stewie going down. 9-1 for Flash. Definitely not expecting this. And honestly, like, yeah, you can talk about how SK haven't necessarily looked too sharp up till this point, but VG are playing well. They're playing solid Counter-Strike.
And we haven't really seen much aggression from SK as well, right? Of course, these defaults
the double push into main, that was pretty much it. And then you had I guess the awkward beat setups, and that kind of reminded me of what we saw from SK when they played with Phelps back in the day, when the B bomb set on cache didn't work at all, because Phelps would like to play aggressively behind the smokes, similar to what Stu was doing, and Coldzera would like to play on the site. It just, even though you have aggression, it doesn't necessarily do all that much for you, because you don't have any ways of actually helping out your teammates on the site.
Now you can at least see SK are really trying to focus on this mid-control, right? They've gone for a lot of vents boost in the past, but this time Stewie's up close. He's got support from Fur. Big limitation is no utility here. Only 1 smoke left up for Fur for mid. But that just means Coldzera's alone on the site. And not exactly a bad thing, right? If you're going to want anyone playing the solo site, it would be Coldzera. But again, if they can take down Stewie in mid, if they can try and isolate this vent split, we could just see VG run over the site. And SK's retaking has not been successful so far. Yeah,
and VG are doing the great thing. We talked about it a couple of rounds ago, how the economy gets really gnarly for SK in the sense that they don't really have the utility to fight into late rounds, and that's what we're seeing now. Just flashes left.
Oh, there we go. So some aggression. Fallen going to get a pick and just full man advantage. No real risk to it. There's now a trade unable to come in. VG need to look for another part of the map. We've not seen this mid-aggression before. Stewie maybe looking to go back into the vents, but he's heard dropping off. He makes a jump, and Freeman takes advantage. 1 kill coming back for VG. There's still only 30 seconds left, though, so they need to make a play. And with the vents now open, this B split again can come through Vendetta. There's no one here for SK. Only Cold0 on the site. They focus on the mid control, but Attacker strikes back. 2 headshots shutting down the rotation, leaving Cold0 to hold it alone, and he can only get 1. The round is falling apart. And I'm surprised SK don't react there. They lose the mid player, but they still don't think, oh, wait, this is going to be a B play once again.
It's because it's a bit unfortunate timing for Fur there. He's peeking. He pretty much has like a window of mid for 98% of the time, and that 2% of the time, that's when Freeman actually is able to sneak into vent. And then Attacker gets just close enough to the box to where Fur can't necessarily get the easy pick on him. And then obviously Attacker with an immense spray transfer there, first getting the kill on Bolts and then managing to snap onto Fur. Just really settles things, but unfortunate timing for SK. But again, you're seeing like the talent from a mechanical point of view on the side of VG, and how. Again, it's not common to see an Asian team being this determined as to how they want to go about things. Fallen,
that's so
cold
smart,
as ever.
Like
cold as ever.
That's so good. He lets anyone pass, right? If there's a second player there, if there's another man coming out through mid, Fallen just wouldn't shoot. He wouldn't want to risk throwing away the AWP. But now knowing, okay, there's 2 seconds left of the round, I can take down one player. Blake shot, drops the gun, holds onto his AWP. Everything goes well. But I mean, everything's not going well. Everything's not going well.
We're kind of reaching for straws when this is the positive that we can bring up for SK. But you're definitely right, and it could play a big part of it. We saw Fallen again. Like this is SK finding the opening frag of the round as well, because Fallen went aggressive, found the pick onto Summer, so that's the offer out of the hands for Vici as well. But they're still not able to capitalize on it. But they're gonna have to hope for some heroic plays from Bad Fallen right now.
Another big detail as well, which you kind of preluded to before the game, was like, okay, one player we need to watch out for is Freeman. He's a man that's been at least good coming into this event, and he's top fragging right now for VG. He's looking really good alongside Attacker, so it's not just that solo man. We've got everyone stepping up for VG, and we need it again because the Deagle is close and is lining up shots. Only 1 frag, but Zoking's solo in the engagement, and Stu is still caught inside of the smoke. He'll run through this for sure, but he runs into the headshot from Attacker, again giving away this B bomb site. The only issue is here, no utility for the post plant means CT is now open, and Bolts has an opportunity. Smoke coming in to cut off B main as well. That's awkward for the post plant, but no one's playing there. They're all playing in the checkers or the bomb site. Vici having crossfires and having an opportunity. Attacker takes it again. Another big frag, because it now shuts down SK's real chance of a retake, and they know that. Save already coming through. Yeah,
no, Fallen just has to hold on to this up and then hope that you can have MS decently enough into the next round, but considering how they bought up with CZs and so on, you don't really get a good buy in this. And, well, if Summer's hitting that kind of shots, maybe it doesn't matter what you have equipped. For might be able to find the back of Summer here and actually rescue that op. Nice little shot, and should actually be able to retrieve the op. So that is actually a pretty big get for SK, all things considered. But they're not going to have a great buy coming into this.
At 11-1, and when you're saving this often, like, of course, not that they can do anything else, right? That's a round you have to save. You can't go for the retake there. But this is it. They're just saving round after round because they're not getting any opportunities in terms of holding onto the sites. That no one's putting up 2-3 kills. We've not had any hero plays. The one round I can think of a hero play is Cold0 getting, what, 3 kills on the defense
with the AWP. And they even lost that because of Summer. So it's just been really, really rough. Weirdly enough, the one round that did manage to get a hold on is just very clean from them.
This is
go. And I'm actually a bit surprised. We're seeing a bit of a tempo change from Vici here.
Smoke. Bolts has already found the first kill. Fursil hasn't been spotted, but he's getting shot in through. Finally going to walk with his back turn. Now Fallen's on the scene, on the site with the AWP, but Bolts, a very aggressive peek alone, and he's going to get nothing for it. Fallen has to keep things intact, but he misses the shot. Summer in the open. Fallen can't follow up again. And Vici, they're on the site like you know it. Stewie's still here, but he can't get a kill because Attacker's at the back of the site, and now it's just Cold0, but I say just. He's in a 1v3, but he isolates the first, and Vici, they're going to try and at least find him, but he's repositioned. This is good. Yeah, Cold0's caught Attacker, and now he can just play the 1v1. The mind games can come through.
Well, so far, Cold0 has been one of the, I guess, few highlights. But
forget that.
Jesus. These Chinese players are hitting some crazy shots right now. Some are up to 13 frags. As you mentioned, it's not that one-man army by any means. Some are at 13, Attacker sitting at 15, both Zoking. Zoking, we haven't really mentioned a whole lot. He's got 10 frags, same as Freeman, and Lovey with 8. All of them have had impact frags as well, but Speaking of impact, one of the players who's kind of disappeared from the server, Stewie, he's not having a good game at all. You can see that there as well. I would favor him in that kind of situation versus Attacker in that duel, but he just whiffs his shot, just starts off his spray about half a mile away from the player, which is not a great sign. VG, they're just seemingly unstoppable, and that was pretty much the best buy SK are going to have for the remainder of the half. This is a much worse buy. 2 FAMASas in hand, almost no utility to speak of already, with 120 left in the round.
And maybe the best buy they're going to have for the map, right? Because if we don't see these last 2 rounds go the way of SK, it's going to be, what, 14-1.5? And that is not enough. If you lose pistol, that's game over before you even have rifles. So SK really are pulling out everything they can here, but judging by the scoreline, if you can count, it's not gone too well. And look at the triple B setup. Look how scared SK are of this site. They do get aggressive, though, so they drop a player, but in the meantime, VG just spot it. They had a man outside of B, so they know that SK have a very heavy setup, so they want to try and split the A site. Great timing on the peak from Zoking. Bolts looks away, and Fallen will go down as well. SK not finding any leeway into this round, leave just Cold Zero. And even though they start things off with a pick, even though they get aggressive on B, VG just go, okay, they've got 3B, rush A.
Yeah, it's just the immediate reaction. Again, we've talked about it multiple times throughout this game, the fact that VG just seems so on point with their decision-making. Yeah. It's surprising, but it's such a positive surprise to see. And Cold Zero, well, he's out of luck for this round. He's going to have to hold on to this Colt in hopes that it's going to be able to do something miraculous going into the next round, because they're pretty much emptied out. As you can see, $450 on the side of Fallen is the most you have. And yeah, Stewie talked about it. He's not having a great game, and this time as well, even after they find the opening pick on V, he's going aggressive to see if he can find anything else. But VG has been, for the better part of the game, I think excluding maybe 2 or 3 rounds in total, they've been playing fairly slow. Regardless of what happens on the map, they stick with their position. They want to see the reactions coming out from SK, and well, the reaction after that is probably not going to be too polite.
Cold Zero just didn't expect that. He saw the player was wallbanging in that spot from the spawn, so he cleverly repositioned. They're going, okay, they won't expect anyone to be here. They've already shot through this position, and still it gets checked, and he just doesn't react.
VG can seemingly do no wrong at this point.
Well, they dropped 1 round.
Well, okay, yeah, that is true. There's room for improvement. There definitely is, and well, instead of 2 FAMASas, last round we're going to get 3 FAMASas, a ZZ, and an MP9, and Fur, well, he's already dead. Freeman does take significant amounts of damage, but in the end, it's the number count that really matters. Fallen does peer, but Attacker is going to come in and help out his buddy, and that's going to force Fallen off the position. So they get out of dodge as well, so man advantage in this side of the Chinese team.
And still mid for them as well, right? Just no issues. SK can't contest this. They lost their first player. Fallen doesn't want to fight through the connector, because if he loses that duel, instantly we're in a 5-on-3, and that's probably the half. SK still have an opportunity here, but with limited weaponry, we need to see something good. Bolts coming in with some aggression, that's important. And even though he gets tagged up, he gets a kill, relieving some of the pressure and dropping Zoking. Fallen on the site, catches that push through the connector, which was pretty big, because it would have led Freeman behind enemy lines. But still SK, only 3 players surviving, and still limitations on weaponry.
And look at this, Attacker's the only person over towards this A bomb site. The bomb's still hanging around in mid. And you can see Lovey working over towards that B bomb site. And he might be able to find Stewie. Oh, did he just...
Oh, no. They don't know.
No, now he knows. Now he knows. Lovey's going to get the drop on Stewie here. That's such unfortunate timing, and that is just heartbreaking for SK. And it's going to lead to a really difficult retake. No utility to speak of on the side of SK. Molotov'd out, so Fallen can't necessarily deny a bomb plant either. Going to try to split through higher and vents here. New Molotov comes down. Well, Fallen, you have to commit. Now, Cold, you have to commit here. It's not going to go too well. Fallen's not yet in position, but he does find Attacker. Gets spotted out immediately, gives up his position, and, well, this is definitely not what we expected coming into this game.
I don't know what you were thinking. I knew
you had this all along.
14-1? I mean,
yeah, actually, I can see in your notes on the desk here. 14-1, VG Gaming.
I want to say one thing, though, because I'm sure he's watching, but, you know, Blair, don't get too much hope, okay? Right? Just because we have one map.
Every time he gets hopeful, it just crumbles somehow.
He jinxes it.
Yeah, no, if he goes out on Twitter now and types like, wow, VG playing super well, they're playing actual Counter-Strike, they're going to lose 16-14.
Yeah.
So,
or they'll lose next map, or something, something
exactly.
will happen,
So
right?
just hold off on the celebrations for now. Let's see VG actually close out in a dominant fashion. No doubt that we got to see what we hoped for, I guess, more than what we hoped for.
Yeah,
from the T side.
We wanted an underdog story, right? We wanted an upset. Let's be real. That's always fun. But I don't think anyone could have called a 14-1.
Oh God, no. And if they did, I mean, Andrews probably would claim
all,
that.
All
but
part of the simulation.
But, you know, we can also claim insanity with that guy. So. I think that kind of evens things out, but VG, they looked so good, and they just did it in every facet of the game as well. The only place where they ever met any real resistance, it felt like, was towards that A-bomb set at times, but even then, VG came out clutch, and outside of that, it was just one highlight towards B.
Look at this setup, though. 3 players on the pistol round on A, and a man in the highway. SK about to walk into the best possible setup from VG.
Ooh, and look at Cole just bought a Deagle. I'm not sure if that's just like praying to the higher powers, but gets spotted out, and now they know.
God, Molotov aim will force no one out, but SK diving in through the site. Zoking can't get it done, so there's an opportunity for SK. Can they collapse onto this bomb site? It's a yes. Bolts with a double, but Freeman with the same, and Summer with 2 instead. And Stewie has to get it done because coldzera is getting tagged. It's such low HP, and the bomb down in the site as well. Summer still relieving the pressure, and he's going to go and get 4 kills on the pistol round. This man is the hard carry for VG.
He's been doing it, and whenever it's gotten into a situation where SK had an inkling of a round, Summer shows up.
4 kills.
Yeah, it's been a recurring theme here, and VG have to be super happy about that. And you talked about it, you know, maybe the round 13 bite is going to be the best SK is going to have for the rest of the game. Well, we've lost pistol, and this is just looking really dire.
It's looking like GG. Let's call it.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, yeah, no, you have to, you know, call a spade at some point.
Dear oh dear. What do we have here from the Brazilian side with the American? Freeman.
Yep.
Apparently nothing. He's going to shut down Fur already with that scout. Does lock down mid. Stops what could have been event split as well, because SK did show early presence towards B, but the bomb is outside, maybe inside of main. coldzera. Oh dear.
It's definitely not necessary. You're 1 man up already, but
it's 15-1.
Yeah, it's 15-1, and this has to just mess with the heads of SK. And they're not able to get anything done. Bolts with a nice connection onto Lovey, though. But still 4 players to go, and he's going to run into the MP9 of Zoking. And actually doesn't take any damage at all on nearly 16 points of health left, or lost. But it's close in. The GPS has tracked